All right, now I've downloaded the twinmotion, which is available now. All right. If you go to just type twinmotion and let Google do the rest. There we go. Now, of course, think of Unreal Engine as a cake or as a pizza. And Epic just took one slice of that pizza, right? And just made twinmotion with it. So twinmotion runs from Unreal Engine. It runs on the same engine as Unreal Engine, but without a whole bunch of the very highly complicated features that Unreal Engine has, and just gives you the bare bone of what you need for architectural visualization. That's a target area. We're going to kind of push the limits of what this can do with our movie in the final project, which will kind of stretch the limits and not just solely focus on, oh, here's a building, here's a floor plan here, and you have to kind of make a story from it. Well, we soon cross that bridge, we don't reach there yet. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of telling you the roots of how this engine came about. So it runs off Unreal Engine, and very recently they released plugins that you can even connect it back to Unreal Engine ecosystem. Now, most of us here probably don't use Unreal Engine, which is fine. But because twinmotion has like a bigger brother, it's a little bit more versatile, right? So think about if you are in an architectural firm, right? And let's say that you need to do a presentation on a building. You do your designs, everything, you have your BIM model, and you guys coming out of architecture school, you use programs like Revit and twinmotion and Lumion. So you use twinmotion to do a presentation of your model. But then let's say after this, which usually happens, there needs to be high quality visualizations generated to put in the news or for a groundbreaking ceremony. So when you guys do the initial like presentations in the office, companies might need more premium visuals to now create this marketing package from. And I can tell you from experience, a lot of times these guys have to start from scratch. So we have to take the plans and like recreate the whole thing. Now, let's say you use a program like twinmotion to do this. Well, if the firm that's doing the marketing uses like an Unreal Engine, then they can connect to twinmotion to take the production to a further higher level and so forth, right? So that would be one of the advantages where I still give twinmotion the win. Lumion, everything is kind of trapped a little bit. Lumion is the end product. I mean, everything you have is supposed to go into Lumion, and then it comes out of Lumion as images and animations, and that's it. But you can extend what you produce in twinmotion even further. And I think that's, for me, why twinmotion right now has a little edge over Lumion, though not many people would necessarily use that edge. Not much people are using Unreal Engine nowadays in architectural viz. This is the Terra Nova Hotel visuals. And see, this is another package as well. Nowadays, when a piece of architecture goes up, there is a whole marketing segment that also goes up that has animations and images and, full-on productions and all of these things. And a lot of times they don't really do this in-house. They work with persons that specialize in visualization to now focus on these additional aspects. So anyway, so I just want to kind of introduce you guys to now thinking about cinematography in architecture, because, and in the virtual world, that is what makes all of these images that we are seeing here, right? Okay. All right. So So, you know, that's a rough kind of idea of using twinmotion. And as I say again, I'm really no expert on twinmotion. I know the basics. Now by default, okay, so by default, we have most of our options down here. We have most of our options that's going to be down here. We have a menu to the left that's hidden currently and a menu to the right. And that is pretty much all where all of these settings are for twinmotion, right? So on one hand, I like the simplicity of it. To open the menu to the left, you click this little arrow here, and you will get things like materials and options and animations and people and entourage and all that stuff. And on the menu to the right, it's mainly about statistical stuff. So it tells you, for example, like you can see how much the specs of your computer, how much memory you have, the frame rate. You can look at the different layers of objects that you have and all that stuff. And you can just minimize these like so. So that's pretty much the user interface. These icons down here are, think about it as your kind of production cycle. I like to think of them that way. And you kind of start work your way down the pack. So the first thing you do here, that's the first icon, is you import. Then you set up things like locations. No, well, not location. You do things like set like if you're going to have pathways for animations and different features. Then you set things like your location, and then it goes to production, and then you go to output. So you can kind of work your way from top to bottom with these icons here on the left. That's the kind of general notion behind it. So the first icon here is import. So I'm going to go to import. Now, in your case, you're going to have a FBX file working with that you use for your assignment too. I'm going to go to import. I'm going to import some geometry. Oh, here it is in the background. Right now I have it on my computer. So there are two options for the site. I have one that's called European City Environment, and I have another one that's a residential site with a park. Both of them are pretty cool. The residential site with the park is a little big, so you have multiple positions that you could put your building in. Let me pick that one first since it's the most versatile.